I will say a few words about these classes before we begin tonight's topic, and that is that the format with which we will be working is similar to that of the Ascension class. We will have channeling, and we will have an opportunity for questions and answers, and then we will have a meditation. We will be doing some guided meditation and some group meditation. It is the intention that this class is for people who are sincere about their spiritual path and willing to take the time to sit and to be still for these periods where there is no yakking going on. But there will be much yakking, I can assure you. There is much to talk about. Tonight's subject we will be dealing with balance and integration. We will be dealing with this as our initial topic, for it is in a way the essence of all of these presentations.
Personally, learn to conquer your innermost fears and learn to love. When you see your fears for what they are and master your emotions, then, and only then, will you truly be free.
Let me say the situation as I see it from my perspective. Let me say your situation here on this earth plane. I would say you are in your three-dimensional physical forms, longing for spiritual growth and experiencing the blessings of the new spiritual energy which is flowing and growing each day as it manifests more, as the new age consciousness blossoms now with more and more presence and more penetration into the lives and consciousness of humanity. So from my perspective, I see each of you growing rapidly. I also see each of you dealing with somewhat consistently with the issues of balance and integration. How to remain balanced in your life experience, how to remain fully functional and joyous in the midst of the massive transformation that is occurring within you and without you. It seems that you go from one spiritual experience to the next. There seems to be no end to the influx of new energies and the opportunities for new growth, and in fact for the opportunity to release the old. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with your own process in regards to releasing your previous limitations, not always enjoyable and yet a necessary function of your growth. So tonight we will be addressing this, your situation, and as you are waiting here, patiently waiting for your ascension to occur, waiting for your own critical mass to be attained so that you can, let us say, be reintegrated into your true spiritual presence. We will be assisting you. So it is the nature and the intent of us, for our part, to assist you in your everyday lives as well as in your spiritual growth path. In fact, there is no separation anymore. The earth and the spiritual masters are your teachers. Your own life is your teacher. So I would say for you, spontaneity is very important at this time. It is no longer applicable or helpful to attain to a strictly rigid outlook, even concerning spiritual growth, for there is so much presence manifesting and so much of transformation occurring within everyone, that as soon as you fasten yourself into a rigid belief structure, that it comes along and is shattered, and there you are again, present in the moment with your own heart in your hand. This is the nature of the transformation which is occurring. For the energy which is growing is doing so at an increasingly rapid rate. So even though you may have been comfortable with growth up to a certain point and feel that you have things under control, I assure you there will be times when you feel that things are a little bit out of control. I think you all understand what I'm speaking of. And we are here to assist you in integrating this new energy which is manifesting and the changes which are occurring within your consciousness and within the earth consciousness as well, so that you can maintain a state of balance and harmony within yourselves, and in fact to be relaxed and enjoying this process. I would say that each of you is a spiritual master in whatever degree of awakening you are. Know that you are not an ordinary, common, run-of-the-mill human being. You are a spiritual master who is awakening. I will call you star seeds, light workers, whatever title you wish. And because you are among the forefront of this New Age experience, because you are those who will go before to show others the way, perhaps you are feeling a little bit more pressed towards growth and a little bit more under fire, let us say, from your processes than some of the people that you witness around you. This is as it should be. It is time for each of you to accept your roles, your missions, and your responsibility in creating this particular lifetime at this particular time in a world which is undergoing incredible transformation and awakening. Assume responsibility for your decision to be here and begin more and more to align yourselves with your true purpose and your true presence. For you are quite magnificent beings. When you have a meditation which is particularly profound, perhaps you are feeling yourself lifted to a more etheric state, something entirely beautiful and liberating for you. Please understand that these states are your own presence manifesting. It is easy for you to think that, I was feeling the presence of the Christ. I was feeling the presence of Ashtar or of Saint Germain or any number of spiritual masters. For we are all working together with you and for you. And yet, what any master can do for you, and what any master will do for you if you call, is simply to unlock the power and presence within your own spiritual essence and align you with that power or that higher self that you have awaiting you, waiting to blossom. So know that the incredible experiences that some of you are having are forerunners of your true state, and that where you are headed is to a degree that is far beyond what you can even imagine at this time. Your ability to handle large amounts of spiritual grace and love and to channel this incredible energy through your bodies and through your heart chakras to humanity is only beginning to truly develop. And as this manifests more and more, as you integrate these new energies, balancing them in your hearts, allowing the energy to flow through you, allowing, let us say, allowing the mind to surrender a little bit more. You will find yourselves being lifted, and there is a rather persistent caller on the line. My concentration is very good, but this is getting ridiculous. If they call again, will you unplug the telephone? So, as I was saying, you are in for quite a treat in your lifetimes. In fact, most of your ideas about spiritual growth are rather limited and related to books that have been published in the past and teachings that have been handed down through many eras, through many masters. And while truth has been spoken here and has been shared, and there has been much of understanding and love shared, and much of spiritual presence, it is really nothing compared to what is beginning to manifest now. For example, you might think that, say, 2,000 years ago there was the Christ incarnated upon this world, and he was addressing his disciples. And you can imagine easily within your minds that he was sitting in some chamber with them discussing these mysterious universal truths and initiating them into the wonders. And in viewing this, it is your tendency to glorify this moment and to say, I wish that I were there, and to look at the disciples perhaps and say, well, if it had been me, I would have understood a little bit more what he was trying to say. But know that even as we are sitting in this moment, in this particular room, having this conversation, you are in a moment which is quite equally glorified. Though you are experiencing it yourselves, and it is your tendency to belittle your own experience and to, let us say, be a little bit more locked into this moment of understanding. In the future, when you look back upon your growth path, you will find many wonderful moments of enlightenment. And you will understand that you have shared and assisted in the greatest awakening that the earth has ever seen. This is our intention, and it is our intention to gather as many volunteers as are willing to commit themselves to growth and to being love beings. No serious responsibilities here. Simply experiencing love and sharing your presence. That is enough. So you see the transformation that is underway is truly amazing and is quite intense at times. You are being called upon to dramatically alter your very experience of life and your very presence. In fact, the atoms and the molecules of your beings are being intensified in their frequency of vibration. The earth and all of the beings upon the earth are vibrating at a higher frequency. And the effect of this upon you, as you know, is to kick out the old stagnant energy and that which is vibrating at a slower and more dense rate. This is what we term processing. And your emotional bodies are being affected radically by this experience. You are not alone in this. Everyone on the planet is experiencing this to some degree. But being that you are the star seeds and the light workers who have come to show the way to others, you are perhaps accelerating a little bit more rapidly. This is all according to the plan. So how will you balance this energy that is flowing through? You are having your lives and having your experiences, sharing your love, and yet you are constantly aware that you are being called upon to grow, and that this growth does not seem to have an end. It has various goals, it has various phases, and yet truly there is no end to it. There is somewhat of an end to the experience of limitation. This occurs in the ascension process, and I think as this occurs to you, you will feel you have attained a great deal of liberation. But in the meantime, there is no reason why you cannot experience fully the joy and presence of the energy which is within you and which is manifesting. So balance. Balance is spontaneous, self-love, and receptivity. Balance is receptivity to the heart energy, to the love that is within yourself, for yourself, and attuning to this energy often enough and with enough focus and concentration to allow yourself to smoothly, let us say, smoothly go where no man has gone before. You are all opening to receiving increased messages and guidance from your own spiritual masters, from your own higher selves. This is of vital importance. It is important for one to be able to hear guidance that is coming to you, or to feel guidance. You can receive it in many ways. You can hear messages, spoken messages from your guides. You can feel within your feeling body, within your heart, an inspiration or let us say a spontaneous feeling, and act upon that. But regardless of the way it manifests for you, it is going to be necessary for your own balance and integration to open more and more to this. This is why we are encouraging more and more of you who have the ability at this time to begin to channel and to connect in a greater, with greater depth to your own masters. For you can grow at a very smooth and easy rate if you can stay one jump ahead of the process. And inevitably, before there is a process, or as there is a process of release or a process of new growth manifesting, there is usually a period of messages or a transmission to you concerning this and concerning how you are to integrate that, and what would be the best way for you to open to receive and to balance this energy. Many times you feel taken by surprise by new waves of energy and new occurrences. This is often because you have not been quite subtle enough in your receptivity to guidance. When you receive guidance concerning your own growth, it is for you to take it into your heart, to give it the test of the heart to see that if it feels that it is truth for you, if it has the stamp of love and light upon it, and to act out of self-love to follow that guidance. Oftentimes you may receive a spontaneous message to do something that seems totally strange or unusual to you. Perhaps you had a day planned where you were going to address a lot of business issues, and you get a spontaneous message that feels very strong to you to go to the woods that day. Generally, there is a way and means for you to make these little shifts. You will not generally receive guidance that is contrary to your own responsibilities, etc. I am just using this as an example. Let us switch it around. Let's say perhaps you had planned to go and spend a day in the woods, and you received the spontaneous message that you should stay at home and take care of some business. How's that? More responsible? This is the path of ultimate responsibility. Not only are you expected to maintain your worldly responsibilities, you are expected to follow your spirits unhesitatingly and become outrageous and live with wild abandon, all at the same time. So you can see there is a great deal of need for balance. We must balance the wild abandon with the responsibility. So as we were saying, self-love is very key also to this. For self-love will allow you to accept guidance and accept a spontaneous redirection from moment to moment, so that you can perhaps avoid patterns that have caused you some pain or stress or limitations or situations that have no longer a service for you. And of course, meditation. Meditation is so important at this time. In meditation, you open yourselves, you open your higher centers, you bring the energy through into your heart, and the energy as it manifests within your heart is channeled throughout your entire body and to all of your chakras and is balanced. You see, the heart is the balance point. This is why we are always speaking of love and self-love and of sharing heart energy. For ultimately, balance is found in the heart, and guidance is found in the heart, and integration. So let's see if we can be a little bit more practical with these suggestions. I would say that each of you, if you are sincere in this, obviously you are, continue to develop your meditation skills. Allow yourself to meditate a little bit longer if it feels appropriate to you. Allow yourself to go a little bit deeper than you have before. I would suggest, it has been suggested before, I will reiterate, if you feel you can manifest within your lives, have the time to take, let us say, one day or one half of a day each week to meditate. You will find that in doing this, you greatly enhance your receptivity, and your guides will be able to connect with you much more dramatically. And in fact, it will be such an assistance to your daily meditations and to your moment-to-moment meditation and to your moment-to-moment connection. You will have days more and more where you feel yourself surrounded by grace, surrounded by the presence of your spiritual masters. And even from time to time, you will find yourself surrounded by new masters, someone you had not met before who introduces himself to you or herself to you, because it is time for, in your growth, for that particular being to assist. We all have specialties. Some of us are very broad-ranging in our activity. Some of us are more finely focused. So you see, by bringing in this new energy and increasing your receptivity, you can also attract to yourself, via your prayers and via your meditations, all the help that is required to deal with any situations that arise, and to deal with rebalancing and reintegrating whatever energy is present, whatever energy desires to be present within you. You each have great spiritual gifts that you are awaiting to begin manifesting. Some of you have already done so. You will do so at a continually increased rate. And the intensity of your channelings, I will call it channeling, for all of the service that you do in effect is channeling your spiritual presence. Your channeling abilities will grow, and if you can be spontaneous enough, you may find yourself opening to new gifts and new gifts of the Spirit, I will call them, that you had not been aware of. Perhaps it never occurred to you that you could channel. Perhaps it never occurred to you that you could have an in-depth conversation with whatever master you desire and receive direct and pertinent information regarding your own life, down to the very details of what you should wear that day, if you so desire. The masters are very flexible. It is their greatest joy to share with you in communication. You see, we miss you. We have missed our communication. Those of us of the Ashtar command and the spiritual hierarchy are your brothers and sisters. We are not gods and goddesses to be worshipped. We are the same as you. We have just chosen the different paths. You have chosen the path of great resistance, let us say. A great resistance resulting in a great growth and a great service. So it is time to break down these barriers, the apparent barrier between, let us say, a third, fourth dimensional reality and fifth and higher dimensional reality. You can do this a great deal by opening to your telepathic powers. And in this way, telepathy or channeling can become a daily occurrence to you, and you can bring through the very energy that you long for and allow it to flow through your bodies, allow it to flow through all of your chakras, allow it to manifest within your hearts. And this will balance you. This will open you to integrate new energies. And there is also an aspect of balance, which is that it is necessary for you, considering that you are going through such an intense growth experience, to take the time to play, to have recreation, to be a little bit frivolous in your antics. Because it is, believe me, possible to meditate too much, to be too serious about this, and to be so serious about it that you even close your heart off or lose your spontaneity. So also, I am here to tell you that though I recommend constantly everyone to meditate more and take a day of meditation, I would also suggest that you reward yourself for your meditations by running along the beach and playing in nature and being together in group activities, whatever you feel called to do. Some recreation is very balancing. We must not forget the fact that we are still, let me say, you are still in the physical bodies. And while you are in the physical bodies of the third and fourth dimensional aspect, it is necessary for you to maintain a balance that is healthy for your physical body. For it is this body that you will be taking with you when you ascend. So balance is you can see, a very spontaneous affair, and much too complex for me to sit here and issue each of you a prescription for let us say, a disciplined lifestyle that will accommodate all your needs. This is impossible because it changes from day to day, even with each one of you. So I am here to tell you there is a balance, and each of you are on your way to finding it each day, because it changes from day to day. Perhaps you will go through a week where it is very appropriate for you to meditate for 4 hours a day. it feels entirely appropriate. And then you will come upon a day where you feel that meditation is too much. It is counterproductive. And it will be time for you to blow off some steam. There are no judgments about your growth and development and your choices. We are here to assist you in making the choices that will allow for you maximum development and growth, because we long to see you and we know you long to be with us. So, again, it comes back to self-love, bringing the energy into the heart, doing what feels appropriate to you in the moment without self-judgment or self-criticism. You will never attain balance if you continue to judge and criticize yourselves. I will tell you who are the most balanced beings at this time. They are generally below the age of 5. And they have not consciously meditated, or very few of them have. And yet they seem to be quite spontaneously enjoying their experience. And they have not acquired so many limiting beliefs and restrictions. And they are not afraid to cry when they see something that they want. And they are not afraid to run after it and grab it, even if it is in a store and they have not paid for it. And you yourselves have a great deal of restriction. If you see something in a store that you desire, you will go through a great process of weighing whether or not you have enough money to purchase it, or whether or not you truly deserve such a wonderful thing, whatever it is. It could be a new box of thumbtacks. You all know and have experienced this. And see, if you were more childlike, you would say, "Oh, I need some thumbtacks." And hopefully you would pay for them on your way out. It is all revolving around self-love, you see. And the ability to act within your lives and in your world in a way that is not fearful, in a way that is trusting, as a child is trusting. The child does not concern himself with how much money is in his bank account, for he has none. He has only what is in his pocket. And he knows there is an endless, infinite source of money, and that is his mother or father. So you have also a mother and father. And you can depend upon them to fulfill your needs. So balancing also requires that we love ourselves enough to go beyond fearful limitations and to give ourselves those little things that we feel would make us feel happy. Now you are all going to run out and buy new Mercedes-Benzes. You can tell them I sent you. I am on commission. So there is a balance in this also. You know better than to do that. So self-love, self-acceptance, and trust. Trust your spiritual guidance, and trust that you are indeed light workers and ascended masters upon this planet, at least ascended masters in training, and that you have a direct connection with the Father, with the Creator, and that you will be given all that you require. If you can have this belief system, this trust, you will be more likely to be more spontaneous and to give yourself those little things, those little perks, let us say, those extra hours of meditation without fear of the consequences. So again, know that we are with you and attuned to your needs and attuned to your very moment-to-moment experience. If you are not feeling so attuned to Ashtar energy, perhaps you can call on the Jesus Christ energy. We are more and more similar. Perhaps you would like some emotional healing and balancing. You may call upon Kuan Yin. There are many masters with many talents. If you are not sure what you are needing, ask your guidance to give you a message about what you are needing. If you feel that you need something of balancing, but you do not know what it is, ask for a message and be spontaneous and bring that message into your heart. Give it the test of truth. Bring it to your heart and see if it feels true to you. For there is so much occurring, there is so much energy. No matter how many times we sit and discuss balance or meditate together, there are always going to be those times in your paths at this time upon this planet where you feel somewhat overwhelmed by the process, where you feel yourself releasing something on an emotional level that you have no idea what it may be. You feel an energy within your body that feels new to you. Perhaps your body is going through some strange conniptions. You are feeling energy of different manifestations within you, different aches and pains. This is all part of the process of manifesting the ascension within your lives. If you are here in this room, you are on the ascension path, whether you have considered that or not. For ultimately, your spiritual growth will lead you to this experience. And spiritual growth is rather ruthless in these days. It is not going to leave any of you alone for very long. And that is why it is important to continue to maintain this integration and balance. Taking care of spiritual business. Accept this energy into your lives a little bit at a time, a little each day, meditating consistently, and you will avoid the pitfalls of feeling overwhelmed so much of the time or feeling disconnected from your guidance. The ride is not going to be altogether smooth in every moment, but we will smooth it out as much as we can. And if you have enough love in your heart, you can be a very smooth character. So I think we can open the floor to some questions and answers at this time. If any of you have anything you would like to address, especially related to these issues we have been discussing.
Balance within my own personal family unit. The balance of the ascension process within beings who are not understanding of this process and how to continue being in this process. Is how to bring more understanding to someone that doesn't understand it.
I understand your situation. We have discussed it in the past. First of all, let me say there is no balance in the external world or in, let us say, relationship environments, that sort of thing. There is only balance within each individual being. So if you are experiencing a balance within your life, a balance of a spirituality with worldly responsibility, let us say, for example, and you are with someone who is imbalanced, then you will not be able to create a balance, for balance can only be created between balanced individuals. So I think it is for you to detach yourself from your own expectations about creating an ideal situation here and do what you need for your own balance. Take care of yourself, have enough self-love to be spontaneous with your solutions. There is no need for you to convince anyone else of the importance of ascension and of the validity and the truth within this. It is going to be taught mainly by example. There are only a limited number of beings who are awakened enough to even appreciate the possibility that this could be true, let alone to give themselves to the path of ascension and spiritual development. So I would say for you, It is more to maintain your own ascension path and not allow externals to influence you negatively. And to do whatever is required for you to maintain this within you. You are not assisting anyone by trying to convince them of anything. I am not going to tell each of you to run out into the streets and shake everyone you see and tell them, you do not have to die, you do not have to die. Or I will have to come and bail you all out of the lunatic asylum. And my funds are already scheduled, so please do not do so. I have other things I would like to spend my pennies upon. It is for you simply to follow this path within yourself and to, when you come in contact with those who are open to it, to share from your heart. You need not even speak the words about ascension or anything that is that outrageous. You can speak about love and spiritual growth and light. And in your case, I think you have talked quite a bit and it has done little, so why not teach by example? By your own humility and surrender to the spiritual process. And by your own strength in not abandoning your path. Do not be concerned about your children. They are children. They are taken care of. They do not require any external teachings. They only require your love. You see, all of this teaching that we are doing is all aimed at one goal. We will meet together every Monday and discuss many topics, and many masters will come through. But I tell you now, it is all pointing towards the same experience. It is love. And all of the balancing and integrating of spiritual energy that you do is for your own openness to achieve a state of unconditional love, which is the essence of the experience of being the Christ. For the Christ is love. So you see, we are going to attack this same issue from many angles until we drill it into your heads that you can be simple children and surrender to the love of the heart. You see, we are understanding that being in the third dimensional reality is very difficult, is very limiting. And there is a great deal of compassion that we are experiencing for those of you who are of our kindred, let us say, who have made this choice. And now that the world is becoming more and more chaotic, more and more people are storing their arms and getting ready for the judgment day. Many people are becoming more fanatical about materialism and every number of issues. The energy that is created by this fanaticism and chaos is, let us say, not conducive to inner peace and tranquility. So we are understanding the need for your continual feeding with spiritual presence and balancing and integrating of these energies. So I would like to say that you are all doing extremely well in your growth. Most of you that I can feel present here this evening. The sincerity that is here is truly inspiring, and we will not let you be alone in this frying pan of a world. The heat is being turned up, and it is for you to learn to dance a little bit faster. Your atoms are dancing faster and faster every day. But we are also here to encourage you not to jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. What may look like an entirely wonderful escape from spiritual growth and integration may be a path of extreme density and limitation which would create much suffering. So the path of least resistance is the path of spiritual growth and opening. Believe it or not. Any more questions?
Ashtar, if you come across someone who strikes you as very negative, what can you do to protect yourself? Like I've come across some people that my love isn't strong enough to counterbalance how negative they are. What do you do in a situation?
I would say to wear your Reeboks. If you cannot hold your own, let us say, in the company of negativity, I would say to leave the negativity. It is not your purpose to be teachers to those who are not open. It is for you to be primarily concerned with maintaining your own balance and love and spiritual experience, and allowing this to influence others in a gentle and loving way. So if you are receiving negativity from someone, I suggest you run away.
Yeah, this is more like a work situation where I have after an injury. I don't have
You see, we have an example here of third-dimensional reality at its finest. An unnatural situation, having to work for a living. Yet you are in an unnatural situation and must make the best of it. I suggest that call upon your guides, call upon Jesus Christ and myself, or whatever guides that you work with. Babaji is good for this. His presence is very protective. Call upon us to surround you with light and protection, and call upon Archangel Michael to sever your psychic connections with this particular being. In fact, do so with every being and then the entire world. It is very helpful. And if you do this, you will perhaps feel somewhat of a lightening and of a detachment from this experience. If the experience continues, know that you are attracting to yourself something that is for your growth. You are attracting a mirror to yourself of some aspect of yourself which needs to be addressed or released. So perhaps if you are, say, attracting someone who is treating you harshly, then perhaps there is a mirror effect there, that you are treating yourself harshly in some way, unnecessarily. If you love yourself to the utmost, you will not attract any negativity. It is only because you do not love yourselves unconditionally that you attract situations which are not unconditionally loving. It is a spiritual law. So I would suggest to try to put the protection around yourself, and if it continues, you may have to do some processing with this person simply in regards to sharing your true feelings. If you can state that the way they treat you makes you feel this way or that way, it does not feel good to you, then perhaps that will be enough. Perhaps it is a matter of your own having courage enough to express yourself and stand up for your rights. Again, also, let me say that you are not bound to any particular situation. Though you may feel trapped in one particular job, there are many jobs, and you can also ask to be shown another way to earn your livelihood. A more perfect situation can be created for you. These situations can tend to drag on, as you know. But they only drag on so long as is necessary for your own growth. So assume responsibility for attracting this into your life. And in doing so, you will shorten the span of time that is required to process it and be free of it. Sometimes being in balance requires one to yell and scream. We have many ideas about what spiritual balance is. And sometimes we feel that it is always being relaxed and peaceful and loving and very timid and meek. On the contrary, there are times that it is required of us, in order to become balanced, to release some anger or to release some sorrow or whatever needs to be released to clear our emotional bodies. I will hope that you release your anger in ways that are non-harmful to others, as a lesson to those who are releasing anger towards others in this world, and there are many. who are confused and doing so. But do not be afraid to be more powerful in your manifestations. You are wonderful beings and all deserving of respect, if not praise. So do not be afraid to accept that you deserve respect. If you believe you deserve it, you will receive it.
I've come into contact with a master that I would like to know more about if you have any knowledge of him. Therapist Bay. Can you comment on him at all?
I will say that he's an old rascal.
Okay.
He is a very loving being. Perhaps he is wishing to communicate with you. Are you feeling his presence and his messages, let us say?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you would like an interpreter between yourself and your guidance. I'm afraid I will do no such thing. You are to connect with this being, for he has much of assistance for you at this time. There is a great deal of love that he can share to assist you also within your day-to-day situations, as you know. You have begun channeling, and so you are attracting your own waiting list of beings who would like to speak through you. Everyone who begins to channel finds themselves addressing more and more ascended masters and beings, especially you who are such evolved beings. And there will become a list, a waiting list for each of you, as there is a waiting list for this being. And the more you open yourself to being spontaneous and adaptable and balancing and integrating, you will be able to channel more and more different beings, more and more different types of energy, so that in any situation the appropriate energy can flow through to you. I will say this about Serapis Bey, that he has a great deal of love for you. He is communicating at this time with me and wishes to address to you the fact that he is nurturing and surrounding you with love at this moment, and desires to fill your heart with his presence, and desires that if you are open to doing so, he would like you to channel his presence. The specifics of his work with you will be left to him to describe, as is part of your growth path and your responsibility. Of course.
In my communications with Babaji and in my personal experience, I have this, what I've been told and what I experience is that Sirius is the higher self of the earth. And I'm trying to, with my logical three-dimensional mind, figure out the link and figure out the connection between Gaia and Sirius, and help others understand this at the same time. Do you understand what I'm asking? And can you help me be clear as to why Sirius is the star that the earth is connecting with out of all the wonderful stars around? And its purpose.
There is a great beam of light and love coming from this star to the solar system that the earth is within. It is reflective of the fact that the earth is moving into a higher dimension, and that dimension is reflected in Sirius, so there is somewhat of a connection there, as you have said. Let us say that Sirius is what the earth will be someday.
A star?
Yes.
The earth is becoming a star.
Eventually. Everybody is a star. you all will have the opportunity to be quite expanded in your growth paths. Perhaps you can be stars also. Not rock stars. Universal stars. You have gone beyond the charts, let us say. You will go. So I think that that question is quite a bit of universal science is required, and this particular channel is rather a simple-minded being, if I may say so myself. And he is not adept and equipped to totally translate these scientific issues, you see. We must work within the vocabulary and at least somewhat within the understanding of the being we are residing in the moment. I would look forward to someone of a physicist type of nature to become a channel, and there are many of us who could channel a great deal of helpful information in that area, but there are few at this time who are opening to spiritual growth and channelings particularly. By and by we will be able to bring this information through. Let me say that it is rather unnecessary that you understand these types of matters. It is necessary that you understand your own particular issues day to day and how to maintain your balance and what is your next step on the path. Your next step is not to become a star like Sirius, it is to become an ascended master. And there is some work to be done in this, so oftentimes it is quite fascinating to delve into these esoteric issues. But my work involving you and involving others and the work of the masters is mainly focusing upon your own growth at this time and what you can do day to day to discover these wonders for yourselves in an experiential way, and rather than in a way that you are philosophizing and spending a great deal of time in your mental bodies. The mental body is here to be a tool to the spirit, and it has become quite overactive, and that is why there is such a thing as meditation. So when you are meditating, you may find yourself pondering these mysteries, but it is little more helpful to you than pondering whether you remember to take the garbage cans out. Sirius will take care of itself, along with many of these other issues. If you feel yourself receiving messages concerning this, by all means you may open to them, for they are part of your path. Something that you have to learn, so that it is something you have to teach, perhaps.
Could you comment briefly on the being's Voltec? Who he is?
Voltec is an old friend of mine. We go back a long way. We have been working together for ages in this project, the project of the Earth, let us say, Ascension. He is a very loving and ancient being. One of the Ashtar command. He has a command of his own ship. And he takes part in our council meetings. He is what you might call the science officer. You might say he is the Mr. Spock of the Ashtar command. Though he does have more of an emotional body. He is more humorous in his outpourings. Though he is also quite scientific, and he deals much with science and the more scientific aspects of our work. We are working in many levels. We are working as spiritual teachers as we are tonight, but we are also doing work that is of a more scientific and physical nature, such as assisting in holding back the nuclear holocaust. We have done work with assisting the Earth to stay as balanced for a time to assist in holding off the Earth's cataclysms, the cleansing which is most likely going to begin to occur more and more. We have been working to assist the Earth in its rotation to smooth things out a little bit. He is involved with that. He is also involved with shielding the Earth from the harmful rays of the sun. Part of the reason that the Earth is in the situation it is, part of the reason that spiritual growth did not evolve here was that there was a harmful radiation coming from the sun that was not blocked out by your atmosphere. It was only recently discovered some years ago that this is a great deal of the reason why the Earth should be so backwards. Yes, it is backwards, you all know that. We are remedying the situation. In fact, we are relying upon you to assist us. So there was a screen, let us call it, placed between the Earth and the sun to shield off these harmful radiations. And this has assisted in diminishing somewhat the animalistic behavior and assisting in the spiritual growth. So he is a very busy fellow, and I think he has a connection with you, as you know. You could perhaps begin to channel messages from him. Perhaps we will hear from him in this class, though he does prefer more scientific channels also. Are there any more questions? It is getting time for our meditation.
Yes, Ashtar, I have one. I've been becoming aware of an inner isolation, I guess, and at this time I'm hearing all the love energy flowing towards the Earth, and I'm wondering if that is part of the reason I'm becoming aware of it in myself, and how I can open up to some deep heart connections with people around me.
Let me say you have come to the right place. There is a family connection between the star seeds and between particular soul families. And if you have felt isolated, it's because you are somewhat different in your makeup than the normal human being. At this time you have come here from higher realms to assist, and if you have felt a little alienated, it is because you are an alien to this world. We had considered calling this group an AA meeting, Aliens Anonymous. Also, the Star Seed support group was mentioned. Star Seed children of non-Star Seed parents. But we decided to simply call it spiritual growth to encompass all. So this allows us to be more spontaneous. So I think that if you will connect with some of the beings here, perhaps you will find there is a great deal of love that is here. The gatherings have attracted a great deal of heart energy, and it is quite remarkable the connection and the closeness that has been felt. So here is one avenue for you to experience that. I think if you can open to self-love as unconditionally as possible, you will attract more love to yourself from other beings. Love is our own responsibility to manifest within our lives. It is not the responsibility of our loved ones or our mates or our parents. It is our own responsibility to manifest love. And so it is yours. And if you can begin by loving yourself, I think you have done so. You have come here and put yourself in a very loving environment. This is an act of self-love. And if you can continue to do this in whatever way feels appropriate to you, you will attract more of a family feeling. In Santa Cruz there are very many beings of starseed origin. In fact, we found with the Ascension process that there was no place in the world that was so open to this procedure and this Ascension process. And it is becoming apparent that many of the beings in Santa Cruz are of the similar origins, let us say. And of course there are delineations and families within each of these also. So all star seeds do not have similar origins. Some of you are angelic, as some of you are different types of angels or different types of spiritual beings. But you have one thing in common, in that you are volunteers of spiritual purpose. So there are many beings in Santa Cruz who will be coming into awakening and going forth to teach as ascended masters, hopefully, and who are now awakening to the process of ascension within their lives. Spiritual growth, as we call it. It is the same thing. So take the steps that we have outlined this evening concerning balance and self-love, and I think you will find the more you love yourself, the more you empower yourself with spirit, the more you can meditate and bring through that spiritual presence, the more you will radiate your true presence. And that radiation will act as a beacon to attract to yourself other like beings. So this is how you get together and find yourselves and reconnect in the mass of a third dimensional reality. You have your beacons and your vibrations emanating, and it is something felt within the heart. So I think you are in for more of this experience. So I think it would be a good time for us to meditate a little bit. During the course of this class, we will be doing meditations, as this was a class for those who are somewhat attuned and committed, and hopefully most of you have some form of meditation. If you have not, I would suggest simply focusing upon your own breath. This is the meditation that I prefer, and the one that seems to be recommended by, let us say, the majority of ascended masters. It has our seal of approval. So we will be having meditations, and during these meditations you may find yourselves surrounded by energy, or you may feel yourselves you've been contacted by the spiritual masters, your own teachers or others. And it is our intention that this is a little bit more an interactive and experiential meditation, in that you are being worked upon while you are sitting here doing nothing. So for your part tonight, I would suggest that we will not do a guided meditation, but we will do a short breath meditation. And just allow yourself to breathe, to focus upon your breath. Relax your body and let the spiritual love and energy and healing flow through you, and open your hearts and allow it to fill your bodies. We will meditate for a few minutes together. So, hello everyone. This is Hilarion. Please do not cease your meditation for me. It is my desire to come through this evening briefly, simply to introduce myself, as it is the first time I have been with you in this way. I come only to share my love, which flows now through your beings and through your hearts. And to lend my support in that which you have called your balancing. It has been discovered that my talents are particularly useful for those of you who are undergoing such a rapid transformation. And I will be addressing you again. for now, know that we are with you, that we love you, that we are surrounding you with our love, that we will never impose ourselves upon you, but if invited, we will rush to meet you and to embrace you. We have been through the ascension process, and we understand what you are experiencing from day to day, and therefore we are assisting in every way we can until the time of our reunification. Then we will have a great party and celebrate. So on behalf of Ashtar, it is my pleasure to bid you good night, and from the Masters, from the Lord Christ, who is also with you, and from all of the ascended beings and the Ashtar command, we will give you as much as you can receive, as much as you can receive in a way that is balancing and not detrimental to your physical manifestations. Love is our rule, and love is that which we share. Good night.
Good night.